Hi everyone, welcome to Builds by Jennett. If you are new here, hello, I'm very glad you could make it. And if you are returning, welcome back. So today I am building a woodland cabin and I'm going against absolutely everything I said in my last video. If you haven't seen my last video, please go and check it out. I built an English chocolate box cottage. But in that video, I spoke quite a lot about how when I make my builds, I never think about budget. I just kind of build however I want, and that's mostly because I never use the debug items. And I explained in that video that the reason I don't use the debug items is I find them really hard to use. I find the menu really hard to navigate. It takes me ages to find anything, and it just really puts me off. Well, in this video, I am throwing that completely out of the window. I'm doing a total 180, and I'm doing a starter home. So I obviously have a really tight budget for that. So this house is for 2 Sims. So when you have 2 Sims starting, you are given 22,000 simoleons. The lot cost 2,000, which leaves me with 20,000 left to do the building. And because it's a woodland cabin and because it needs some kind of landscaping to make it look kind of woodlandy, I had to use the debug items. So I finally made the plunge. I went for it. I used them, all of the landscaping out on the front, the tree and the flowers in the back, and then these little planters you're seeing me putting out now are all debug items. And oh my gosh, it keeps the cost down so much. I know you guys already know this. I know I'm not saying anything new, but it really surprised me quite how much you can actually do with it. So I am a convert. I will be using debug items more, and hopefully I'll get better at kind of knowing where things are as well. So yeah, the house, as I say, is a starter home. Because of that, it's very simple on the inside, which we'll see a little bit more when we get to the floor plan in a few minutes. But first of all, when I first started making this house, I basically got to the stage I'm at now, and then my game crashed, and my game has never crashed, ever, like literally ever. Sometimes it freezes, but usually kind of picks itself back up again, but it completely crashed. It deleted everything. And as I say, it was the first time I've really used debug, and I was like, no, I just spent all that time doing the debug and it's gone. So I rebuilt it, and you'll see me, I cut quite a lot of the saving out, but I saved this about 20,000 times when I was building it, just in case it crashed again, but it didn't, which was nice. But we're on to the roofing now. As you can see, I was messing around trying to make a skylight. So I've never used or made a skylight before, so it took a bit of work. I am pretty happy with how it turned out in the end. I still need a little bit more practice with it, but I wanted to give it a go because I see lots of people making skylights and using these kind of skylight roof, glass roof pieces. And I thought over that little bump out there on the right is the bedroom. And I thought it would just be so nice in this little cosy cabin to have a skylight kind of in the bedroom. And I just thought that was really sweet. So yeah, I like how it turned out. I do need a little bit more practice with it. I'm trying to get more adventurous with my builds. So, you know, going into the world of debug, trying to do skylights on the roof. So I am trying new things and trying to get a little bit more creative and a little bit more fancy. Which is nice. It's nice to try new things, and I think it worked out pretty well. But we are onto the inside now. The floor plan was surprisingly tricky. I mean, it's very silly. So it's basically 3 rooms. It's that big open space, that little bump out, which is the bedroom, as you can see now, and then that back corner, which is the bathroom. But trying to get the spacing right was just a little bit tricky. But I worked out in the end, but you will see me kind of deleting walls and moving things around. I end up extending the bedroom out a little bit in a minute as well to fit a dresser in there. Because it is quite minimal, bedrooms just look so weird without dressers. So I do manage to fit one in there, which is nice. So I'm now onto the kitchen. We have this little kind of kitchen in the back there. It's quite small, but it's got everything they need. Here, I was being an absolute fool. I put in a load of cabinets, just kind of force of habit, and was like, oh, look how nice. And then remembered that it is a starter home, and I just sunk hundreds and hundreds of pounds into cabinets. So very, very quickly deleted them all, as you can see. Yeah, force of habit, I just got caught up in the spirit of decorating. But in the bathroom, I've used one of those combination bathtubs and showers. I don't love that bath that I've used. I don't love having the kind of shower curtain across it. I think I'd like it a lot more if the default was it being pulled back, because it just looks very big. It looks kind of quite clunky in the room, I think. But I wanted them to have both. I figured if you're doing a nice little woodland retreat, you probably should have a bath. So the story for this house is the couple that moved here have kind of had the sort of big city career, maybe climbed quite high in their career ladder, maybe even sort of got near the top. And they have now, like many of us, decided that they want to escape to the country, and have disappeared off to the country, and have invested, have bought a nice little wood cabin. They want a kind of more minimalist, simplistic lifestyle, which is why they've got this plot of land kind of set back out in the trees. This build is out in Brindleton Bay, as you can probably tell from the general landscaping. It's one of the back lots, kind of right in the far corner of the map. It's actually next to the build I made in my last video. So it's one of those lots that's kind of set back from the road, doesn't really have a path up to it. So it's nice and secluded. You could always, if you decide to download this, it is on the gallery, you could always put more landscaping in the background to give it even more of that woodland feel. But I didn't want it to become too kind of overcrowded. But that's the kind of story for it. They've decided they want to have a more slow pace of life, kind of more relaxed, more time to enjoy the nature around them. So that is why they have downsized massively, got this much kind of smaller, cuter, more manageable home. I love it. I would live here. I don't like having a lot of space. It's a lot of effort to try and keep it clean. I currently live on my own, which is a new thing for me. So I now have a whole house to kind of keep clean on my own, which it's just so much work. Honestly, it's like parents that have kids and also work. Like, I have no idea how they do it. It's me on my own. Like, yeah, I work full time, but it's just me, and I'm still like, oh my god, I can never keep this house clean. So I think a little house like this would suit me absolutely fine. But you can see from the furnishings, I did get some nicer furnishings, especially with the electronics. I went for a nicer TV and the laptop rather than the computer. I just cannot stand the cheapest TV and the cheapest computer. Like, I know why it's like it. I understand that if you're getting maybe like a second-hand TV, you might be able to get a TV like that, but I like to go to charity shops quite a lot, do a lot of kind of second-hand stuff, and even in like charity shops, the TVs you see, you would be really, really hard pushed to actually find that kind of like boxy TV anymore, I think. I don't know, maybe it's different where you are, but where I live, like, you just don't find them anymore, and they're just, I'm so sorry if you have one, but they're so ugly and I hate them. So if I can avoid using the kind of cheapest TV and the computer, if possible, I will. Obviously, if you could only afford that, that's absolutely fine. I completely understand. But given that I had enough money for it, I decided to get some slightly nicer equipment. And it also fits in with the kind of story for The Sims as well. If they are kind of stepping away from their city jobs, they're going to be able to afford slightly nicer stuff as well. So I'm just finishing off the bedroom now. As I say, it's all quite simplistic, quite minimalist, so there's not a huge amount in the bedroom. I did put a lamp and one of those weird little pictures in there as well. But I decided not to do debug clutter in the house. I did think about going back and adding some things, but first of all, my sort of journey into the debug at the beginning was quite enough. I don't want to overdo myself in one go. But yeah, I figured that I'd kind of just leave it a bit more simplistic, a bit more clean. If you've ever been to centre parks, I know there's a lot of centre parks in the UK. I feel like maybe they have centre parks in Europe as well. I'm not sure. But no, in England, this kind of was inspired by centre parks. In case you don't know what centre parks is, it's basically kind of like a woodland retreat type thing. They have them all over the country, and you can do different sort of activities. They have like bike hires, do lots of cycling, lots of walking. It's extremely wholesome, extremely expensive as well, but really, really good fun. And this house is kind of inspired loosely by the type of houses or the kind of cabins that you rent there. You rent these little wood cabins that are kind of in the forest, and there's always squirrels outside, and it's just, I love it. It's so, so sweet. But here we are, coming towards the end now. You saw me thinking about putting a gate in. I wanted to put a gate in, but it deleted that bit of landscaping that kind of comes over the step. And I wanted that to stay there, and I couldn't be bothered to go back and find the item again. So I figured, nah, we'll just leave it without the gate. I think it looks absolutely fine. I put some planters out at the front as well, and a little table for them. So we've got some skill building items and a table to eat and sit outside and enjoy their lovely, lovely view. But we are coming to the screenshots now, so I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all soon. Bye guys. Honestly, I would move into this house tomorrow. I absolutely love it. You can download it on the gallery. All the info is below. Please do subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.